Hey YouTube, welcome back to Cassandra's Kitchen, where I eat to live and not live to eat. Today I'm going to be whipping up some fried pasta tacos, or fried taco pasta. Either way, if you're interested in seeing my video, stay tuned and I'll show you. Okay guys, so y'all ready for this fun, delicious video I'm about ready to do. So what you're gonna need some manicotti pasta. And so these are just the little tube-like pastas. Or you can use any larger pasta that you can stuff. But I'm gonna use these. And we're gonna need some meat. So what I'm using my walnut meat that I make. So I'll put the description in there because I've already kind of mixed this together. But or you can use Beyond Meats or any plant-based meat that you want to use, but I'm using my own walnut meat that I make. You're gonna need some tortilla shells. You're gonna need some picante, some thick sauce. I was gonna use Rotel, but I didn't have Rotel, so I said I'll just use the picante. And then I have some diced green chilies. You're gonna need some taco seasoning and some other seasonings I'll be putting in there as well. You're gonna need some cheese. I have sour cream. If you have some vegan plant-based cream cheese will work just as well. I didn't have the cream cheese, so I'm using sour cream. But I'll show you guys, I'm gonna be throwing stuff together, but this is gonna be fun, and you need something to fry it in. You're gonna need some oil. So I have some grapeseed oil that I'm gonna use. So I'm gonna come over to the stove. I'm gonna start getting my meat prepared and get all the base done. I'm gonna start to boil my noodles. You wanna boil these, but you don't want them to where they're flimsy and gonna break, because we're gonna also fry these. So don't overcook your noodles, and I'll show you that, but you just wanna make sure they're done, but they're gonna cook even more when we put them in the deep fryer, okay? So coming over to the stove. Okay, so what I've done, I got a little bit of, I'm gonna use a little bit of avocado oil. Got some avocado oil. I'm gonna go ahead and put my meat in here. My plant-based meat. Okay. Get all this out of here. And again, this is just with the walnuts, the portobello mushrooms. I actually put just a little bit. I had some onions because I cut up some mushrooms and stuff for my bowls. I had made some ramen bowls, and I had a little bit of mushroom and stuff. So I had some onion I had used, and so I just put that in here. So it has a little bit of onion in here. And in my regular video, I have hemp seeds because I like the hemp seeds in there because it gives a little extra texture and the protein. But I don't have hemp seeds, so that's fine. I won't be using the hemp seeds, but I am going to put some of my minced onions in here. And once this cooks down, we'll add everything else in here, but I want to cook this first. And I'm going to put some smoked paprika and season to your own liking. Everybody's flavor palette is different. So I like stuff to be seasoned, not salty. So I'm using a lot of garlic. And then I'm going to put in some black pepper. Just make sure our meat is seasoned real good here. And then I'll put in the taco seasoning last. But we're just going to brown. We're just going to get our meat good and browned. And then we'll start adding everything into it to get our base ready to stuff our shells. I got my water boiling for my pasta. But it's going to take a few minutes just to brown my meat. This is going to be so good. And this taco meat is really a nice kick. A lot of people who've tried it like it. I've had some of my non-vegan friends over and I did the tacos for them. And they were impressed with how good the meat was. And so, like I said, but you don't have to use this meat. If you want to use any other plant-based meats out there, you can. It'll all work just the same. And we're just gonna brown this down, and I'll come back on and let you see what I'll do to the meat once it's a little more browned. All right, so I just sprinkled a little taste. You see it's brown real nice. I sprinkled a little taste of cayenne pepper in there. So now what I'm gonna do is put in my taco seasoning. You can use any taco seasoning of your choice. And I'm gonna have it heavy with my taco seasoning. So I got that in here. Start mixing this in because it mixes better when it's wet. So usually if I'm just making tacos, I use a little water, but I'm mixing in some other liquid stuff, so I don't have to add anything. But this is our green chilies, and you want your green chilies to be diced because they sell them whole or diced. Or you can get the rotel that comes with the green chilies included in the rotel, so you can just do that. But what I'm doing, I'm just mixing a little bit of picante with my chilies. So that's a little picante seasoning. And continue to mix this up. And like I said, it would be great with cream cheese, but don't have any cream cheese. And I figured it'll be just as good because I do have some plant-based sour cream. Cream cheese is just a little thicker to me, so that's why I was gonna go with the cream cheese, but sour cream will work just as well. Some of this out. Just a little scoop of, just a couple dobs of the cream cheese. It smells so good already. And just make sure you got enough of your actual tacos taste to it, because we want the taco taste. So, and we do. I want those chilies and stuff. It tastes really good. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a little bit of plant cheese. I'm gonna use the Monterey Jack, the shreds. Mix about a, it's about a what, third a cup of shreds in there. Put that in that mixture real good. Turn down my heat. And my water is boiling. Y'all probably see the steam for my noodles. I haven't put those in there yet. I'm getting ready to. This is our base that we're going to stuff it with. Just taste it again. And only me and my family, only me and my husband's eating it, so I'm eating it with my spatula. I wouldn't do that if I'm cooking for somebody. And y'all seen me do that before where I rinse. But it's just me and him, so I'm okay with that. All right. So there you have it. That's all you're going to do. We're going to let this sit for a bit until we get our pasta ready. And then we're going to let this cool a little bit because this is going to turn into a messy job here in a little bit. So we want to make sure this is kind of cooled off a little bit as well before we start to stuff our shells. So we're going to need to use our hands. So be right back. All right. So these are our pasta. We cooked them. They're still a little firm. But you see they can almost split. This one tried to, but I got them out. And then when you take them out of the water, cool them with some cold water to prevent them from overheating. And then don't let them stick, because you know pasta stick together. So then get you some parchment paper. So I got some parchment paper. I put the parchment paper on my pan because what we're going to have to do, once we stuff these, we're going to have to let these sit in the freezer for about an hour or two. Just so that can set, so when you go to fry them, everything doesn't come flying all out in your oil. So we want to get that to set. So I have some gloves on here. So we're going to take our shells and we're going to take our base here. And so I'm going to try to use a little small spoon, but I want one smaller than that. Let me see. One that I can kind of start the stuff with. Yeah, so it won't split your shell. So you could try to put this in there this way, but most likely you're going to be needing your hand. That's why I said get some gloves on so you can get that stuff in there good. And it's just going to take some patience. So what I'm going to do is flip this over now and start at this end since I filled that little bit in. And like I said, this is could be messy, but just get you some gloves and then just work it down the tube real good. Trust me, these are gonna be worth it. Like some people be like, man, I ain't got time for all that. But you know, it's gonna be good. Just take your time and make sure you stuff them till they're completely stuffed on both ends. Try to push this down just a little bit more. I can probably add just a little tad bit. And then you just want to make sure they're not running out of the sides. So if you guys can see that it's stuffed there. And what we're going to do is set them on our parchment paper. It's okay if you got some on the sides. That's okay. But we're going to batter those and get those fried. But once we get these all stuffed, I'm going to put them in the freezer for about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. Just until they kind of get real good and firm. And then we're going to take them out of the freezer. And we're going to do a egg wash. Well, I'm using Just Egg. So I'll do my Just Egg, and I'll show you this, but just in case you need to run and get you something to, you know, coat with, I'm going to use the Just Egg to get my shells to stay on. So I'm going to crunch up some tortilla shells, and that's going to be my outside of the pasta. So but what I'm going to do, I'm going to get me some egg and some little bit of flour and mix together. So that's be my wet batter. I'll dip this in my wet batter, and then I'll roll it in my crunched up tortilla shells. I'll dip it one more time, and then in my tortilla shells to give a good, nice batter. And then we're going to drop it in some good hot oil, let it cook for a couple of minutes, and bam, you're going to be done. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and finish stuffing these. And then once I get them stuffed, I'm going to freeze them, and then we'll come back on and finish up the second part of this pasta tacos. All right, so I have stuffed them. So this is what they look like. You can clean them off a little bit if you want. Don't worry about it if not. You're going to have a little of the meat on your shell just because it's messy. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cover mine with some saran wrap. I'm going to place this pan in the freezer for about an hour to 2 until I come back till it sets and freezes a little bit. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to fry them. So you want to cover them because just in case you don't get to them immediately, you don't want them to get frostbite or anything like that. So you want to make sure you cover them. So I got some saran wrap that I'm going to cover my pan with. And then once I get ready to fry these, I'll get to come back on and we'll get our base, or not a base, but our mixture ready to flour them in and or coat them in. I guess we are flouring them too. So we'll come back on with that. But just want to get these in the refrigerator, or the freezer I should say, and just kind of let these sit in the freezer, and we'll come back and we'll finish it up. So this is our stuffed pasta tacos. All right, so I'm back. These are what it looks like. You can see they're solid. They've actually been in the freezer for quite a bit. You put the parchment paper on, they don't stick. So this one's a little overfilled. You don't really want it hanging out too much on the sides, but it just kind of slid out, but that's fine. You just kind of want it even because they're going to fry. Probably get a little bit down in there. So that's those. So we just set those to the side. Then we're going to make our crust or a batter for them. So I'm using some non-GMO tortilla chips. And you just want to get those in your bag. And basically you're just going to crush them up. You're going to crush these down real small. That's what we're going to coat our rolls with there. Okay. And then we're gonna just take a little bit of all-purpose flour. I'm using Arrowhead organic all-purpose flour. Just gonna put a little bit in here. And then I'm using the Just Egg to make my wet batter. And the reason I'm putting the flour in there is to thicken that up just a little bit. It'll help the it'll help coat the crumbs here, the chips. That's why I said just put a little flour down in there. And then all we're going to do at this point is we're going to dip these in here and then put them in here, dip again, coat again. But what I'm going to do is just crunch these down just a little bit more. And I'm going to wait till my oil gets it good and hot, because you don't want to cook them that long. You want to drop them a couple of minutes till they're golden brown, till the tortillas are golden brown, and then they're going to be done. So we'll go ahead and finish crunching these down, and then we'll start to drop them in just a second. All right, so this is what your consistency of your wet batter should be like. I did add a couple of tablespoons of milk in there just to loosen it up a little bit, because it was a little bit thicker than what I wanted. So then you just take your, I'm gonna do one that's not so stuffed out. Take your shell, dip it in your egg, and roll it in your tortilla. Dip it back in your egg, and coat it again with your tortilla. And it should look as such. My grease is on 350. So I'm gonna put it down in my basket. And let me get another one in there before I drop that one. And then just roll. Like I said, this is a little messy. And get your chips on there. Yeah, I saw this on TikTok. But of course they wasn't vegan. And so I was like, I think I can make this vegan. And so, get that in there. We'll see how the Just Eggs hold up with these two. Because they use the egg wash. So, I think we should be just fine. And get this one down in my oil. And we're just going to let this cook for a couple minutes. And again, I'm using grapeseed oil, and my grease has been on for, it's heated up to 350 degrees. And we're just gonna let those brown and see what it looks like. I'll be right back and let you guys see what those come out looking like. All right, guys, these babies are cooking. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah. Well, my little fry daddy is small. I gotta try to lift them out, but look at that. Ain't those beautiful? So those are gonna be ready, because we don't want to make them too dark. It's just I had to stuff them down in this fry daddy because I didn't want to use my big fryer, because I didn't want to use that much oil. Because my other one is like a 8 quart. No, it's a 4 quart. And this is a 1.9 quart, but it's a little small. Wish it was just a little bigger. But yeah, let me taste that. Oh, y'all. The crunch is amazing. But I'm going to go ahead and finish up on dropping the rest of these, since this is a little small. I'm going to go ahead and finish dropping the rest of those. And I'll be right back to show you how I'm going to plate these and let you see what they taste like. All right, guys, so here we are done. We finished up our pasta tacos, and so I have a little salsa on the side, and I just whipped up a little bit of sriracha with some plant-based sour cream, and I'm gonna give these bad boys a swirl. Let me just dip, see what it tastes like. Got a nice little crunch going on. Let's see what it tastes like with this sriracha and sour cream. I actually think they're really good. This is my first time making them. The pasta's really good. And you got that mushroom walnut meat. For those that love the mushroom and walnut meat, it's really delicious. Okay. Let me stop. But the crunch is amazing. What I did, I actually kept some of the little crumbs that fell off, you know, when you batter in it. So don't throw those away, just drop them in your deep fryer. And you got a little crunch. And put those on the side. But these are the pasta tacos, deep fried pasta tacos. And so give it a try. And if you like it, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. And of course, share this video. If you haven't already subscribed to Cassandra's Kitchen, subscribe. What are you waiting on? I would love to have you follow me here. So until next time, be blessed. Love you guys. Bye-bye now.